And once again, welcome. We open with noting, though we would rather be together in person, there are still opportunities that this provides us, how good it is for all of us to Zoom together. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. On these days, when we face challenges which are inside and outside, the challenges inside us and the challenges around us, a reminder that we should try to act so that our inner lives and our outer ones are somehow in alignment. Le'olam yehei adam yarei shamayim baseter uvagalui. Always should a person revere God in private and in public, acknowledge the truth, and speak the truth in thought and in deed. Kabbalat Shabbat, the Psalms with which we welcome Shabbat. We open with L'chu Nuranana from Psalm 95, continuing immediately on to Psalm 96, Shiru Ladonai.
Yeah.
We are jumping right to Lecha Dodi tonight. Lecha Dodi stanzas 1, 2, on the next slide 5 and 9. And the next slide does not have the refrain Lecha Dodi in it. So if you need the words, look at them carefully now. I can try to go back and forth. Otherwise, memorize those words quickly. Lecha Dodi, the slide in front of us. Likrat Shabbat. So please rise. Boi v'shalom. Ateret ala. Gam b'simcha. U'b'tzola. Toch emunei. Am segula. Boi chalam, boi chalam, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lechadodi, yai lai lai likrat kalah, yai lai lai b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nekah. Magadlu tonight, just as a reading, not singing it. Magadlu ma'asecha ya. How great are your works, O God. How very subtle your designs. We continue with Shalom Aleichem. It is a sample of a slide from the packet which we have received for the High Holy Days. So some of the Machzor, some of the High Holiday services will look like this. You can actually see the words Rosh Hashanah up in the corner there. I wasn't able to customize that part. So we continue with Shalom Aleichem with the slide before us.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and in unlikely places. There is no place in cyberspace or on earth. There is no place without the presence. Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
בידמה דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי.
בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב.
ואמרו
אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קודשיו
ברכו.
לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה,
תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירם בעלמה, ואמרו Amen. We continue with Baruch Hu as we. Oh, yes, with the pun, the pun unintended of Bark Hu as the dog is barking in the background. Where did you get your sense of humor?
You.
Yes, obviously. We continue with Baruch Hu. We will try to do something to quiet the dog in a moment. As we continue with Baruch Hu, if you are able to do so, please rise.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim B'chokhma Poteach Sha'arim U'v'tvuna Meshane Itim U'machalif Et HaZmanim U'mesader Et HaKochavim B'mishmerotehem Barakia Kiratzono Borei Yom V'Layla Golel Or Mipnei Choshech V'Choshech Mipnei Or Ma'avir Yom U'mevi Layla Mavdil Ben Yom U'ven Layla Adonai Tzvaot Shemo El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Ata Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim. Unending is your love for your people, the house of Israel. Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts have you taught us. Therefore, O God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and rejoice in your Torah and mitzvot forever. For they are our life and the length of our days, and we will reflect upon them day and night. Then your love shall never depart from us. Blessed are you, Eternal One, who loves your people Israel. Baruch Ata Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לעולמכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands, marching together.
כיפת אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך הוא ברוך שמו,
גל ישראל.
אמן. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. Grant our eternal God that we may lie down in peace, and raise us up our sovereign to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield us from hatred and plague. Keep us from war and famine and anguish. Subdue our inclination to evil. God, our guardian and helper, a gracious and merciful ruler, give us refuge in the shadow of your wings. Guard our coming and our going, that now and always we have life and peace. Blessed is Adonai, guardian of your people Israel forever. Baruch atah Adonai, shomer amo Yisrael la'ad. A few days ago was Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, recollection in Jewish history of the destruction of the first temple by the Babylonians, the destruction of the second temple by the Romans, the same day, by the way, on which the edict of expulsion against the Jews of Spain went into effect. When we are in our sanctuary, and when, God willing, soon enough, but when it is safe to do so, we return to it, and we face the ark in our sanctuary. As I have switched the virtual background to the ark, we are facing towards the east. As some of you have heard me say live and in person, we are facing towards Red Hook. We are facing towards St. John. But ultimately, we are facing towards Jerusalem. And in Jerusalem, you orient yourself in prayer and you face towards this space, this place, this slide, which appears before you. This is taken at the Robinson Arc area of the wall. It is the area that has been used for egalitarian prayer, hence a woman leading the service, leading the prayer here in this particular setting. As we prepare, as we admit Megan's Bay Authority, as we prepare for the Amidah, as we prepare for the Tefillah, if you are able to do so, please rise.
Adonai, שפתי תפתח, ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בר גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, נאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, קדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Remember how before we had the green screen, whenever we clapped, one of us would disappear
Yeah.
from the,
Yeah.
and you weren't with me, I think, because it was last summer, exactly a year ago, or a year and 1 week ago, when I brought the group that came with us to Israel to Kol HaNeshama, and they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, our regular service leaders are not here tonight. We have Nava Tehillah leading us tonight, so we got to hear, we got to have that setting of Oseh Shalom."
So you heard the real deal.
That's right. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Ve'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah V'yivarech v'yirapeh et hacholim ha'eleh. O God, who blessed our ancestors, send your blessing and your healing, your comfort and your hope to all those whose names appear before us. And in addition to those names, or even including them if you would like, we add the following: those of our friends, those of our loved ones, those who are in need of healing during this time of so many who are ill, those who are in need of healing from things which are, in fact, also not related to COVID, but would have been there anyway, even without this pandemic. I share a few names, but will then go to the gallery view so anyone can unmute and share a name that you have as well. John Schenkel, Jorge Palma, Sheldon Minion, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Dorothy Ring.
Stuart, I heard you say the name you usually did, but you muted at the time. So Stuart, I heard him say Pam Bellish.
Olga Neely and Andrew Weibel.
We go back to the screen. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh HaCholim. We praise you, O God, who helps us heal, who brings us comfort.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say,
Amen.
and let us say,
Amen.
Misheberach imotenu v'kor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
I originally heard the setting that you see in front of you a little bit differently. It was a Buddhist monk, not just any Buddhist. This one's for you, Stuart. And it was a hot dog vendor. And the Buddhist monk walked up to the hot dog vendor and said, "Make me one with everything." And then handed the hot dog vendor a $20 bill. He's waiting. He gets the hot dog. He's waiting. He's waiting. The hot dog vendor looks and says, "Well, I thought you knew. Change must come from within." I can't see you, so I don't know if you were laughing, but I will assume you were at this very witty line. And as I switch for the moment now to the Spotlight video, this is a remarkable Torah portion, which is almost like the greatest hits of Judaism. We will study this in more detail tomorrow, but this portion contains within it, Va'ed Hanan contains within it the second set, technically the third set. It's Deuteronomy's repetition of the Ten Commandments. And interestingly enough, and Francis, I saw that you were on. I hope the girls are on tonight if they are. Their Torah portion is the Ten Commandments as it appears in Exodus. So it would be very interesting to participate tomorrow morning and see the ways in which the Torah portion in Deuteronomy, the Ten Commandments, is very slightly different than the Ten Commandments in, it's the 10 suggestions, no, it's very slightly different in wording from the version that appears in Exodus. But also here we have the Shema, and by the Shema I do not mean just the two lines that I'm going to focus on now, or the opening line, which Reform Jews consider to be the sort of all of the Shema. But in Jewish tradition, the next paragraph is part of it, which we consider a separate prayer, Ve'ahavta. The Shema and Ve'ahavta, which we chanted tonight, the second line, by the way, is not from this part of the Torah, the Baruch Shem line. But it is the Shema I want to turn to now. This powerful statement that is so expressive of the essence of Judaism that it is, as is the Shahada for Muslims. You say this and you mean it. If you're not Jewish, you say this and you mean it in the right setting, in the right context, with the right witnesses, and it makes you Jewish. This is the declaration, as one kid in Cleveland once was taught to say, the Shema, the watchword of our faith, because he had no idea what the watchword of our faith meant. This great, glorious declaration of the ultimate unity of God, this expression of pure monotheism. Some of you have heard me say this before, but imagine my shock when, as an adult, studying biblical studies in graduate school before I started rabbinical school, I was taught or discovered that many scholars believe the Shema is not all about strict monotheism at all, or at least in its original intent it was not. This prayer found in this week's Torah portion, which is not really a prayer at all, it is a declaration, not a prayer. This declaration, which we think of as meaning Adonai is one, the oneness, the unity, the monotheism of God, might not have meant that at all. In its ultimate origin, the statement might have been this: Shema Yisrael, listen, you Israelites, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Yud-He Vav-He, this particular God is the God of our people. Adonai Echad, meaning not God is one, but only Adonai. Not in its origin then denying the existence of other gods, just saying that we were bound to this one God. This was an expression of either monolatry or henotheism, each of which are words which mean we have only one God, but that doesn't mean there is only one God. Ultimately then, this would make this declaration of Judaism, it's appropriate in a way, that this is what makes you Jewish, because ultimately this was a loyalty oath. It was a reading yourself into this community, to this people, to this tradition, to this faith. But if I were to go back to gallery view and ask you what the Shema meant, I am sure, and when I have done this in other settings live, we have gotten many, many different answers, ironically, many answers to the question of what it means to say that God is one. Maimonides, the smartest Jew who ever lived, perhaps, Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, developed the via negativa, the negative theology, which doesn't mean it's bad theology, although it's hard. But the idea that we can't say anything for sure positive about God. When you say that God is strong, it's not like strong like God can bench press more than some other person. That's just an irrelevant statement. To say that God is strong means God is not weak. To say that God is one means God is not many. But to me, at a spiritual level, these words have come to mean something very profound indeed. The idea that God is one is, to me, ultimately about physics. And it is about that goal in physics which we have not yet reached, the grand unified field theory. The idea that all the basic forces of the universe can be described by a single set of mathematical equations, even if it was only true for a billionth of a second of the existence of the universe, and even if it will take 12 spatial dimensions. That is what is called cosmic string theory, which I always thought was a reference to the Talit. Even if it will take 12 spatial dimensions for all of the math to work out. But ultimately then, to say that God is one is to say that the universe is one, a kind of pantheism or panentheism in which God and nature overlap the same set of existence. And it is to say that everything that we encounter as being different is simply energy that is temporarily and accidentally congealed in a form which superficially appears to be different. If you think about this from a physical point of view, as my teacher, Rabbi Lawrence Kushner, pointed out, the very molecules of our bodies, our skin flakes off even without a virus once a week. Every cell in our body exchanges places with the material around us. The same molecules literally could be on the sand in the floor of the synagogue at one point, and in a dinosaur at another point, and on one of the moons of Jupiter at yet another point. Everything in the universe is connected. There is a oneness at the heart of the world. To me, this is the spiritual power of this assertion of the oneness of God. And to me, even if it began as being about loyalty to one particular people, what this declaration in this week's portion teaches is about a sense of connection to everyone and everything. One of the greatest teachers of unity and dignity and connection was laid to rest yesterday. The sight of 3 past presidents, 2 Democrats and 1 Republican, coming together in praise of a vision and a reminder. It is precisely this lesson that John Lewis taught us that we must remember now. This past summer, in studying at the Hartman Institute, virtually and online, my teacher Micha Goodman noted that what had always been true in the past as a division, fear, is now, if we let it, a sense of unity. With Israelis and Palestinians, we have always been afraid of each other. Micha Goodman said, with this pandemic, we are now afraid with each other. For we know that but for one microbe that is so tiny, All of that which divides us shrinks away. We share indeed the same dangers, the same fears, and surviving or sick, triumphing, in triumph or in failure, we share indeed the same fate. The lesson to me of the Shema is that of connection, not just loyalty to one group, but loyalty to the very idea of unity, the unity of all people, the unity of all creatures, the unity of the very substance of the universe. May we find in that sense of unity a way to come together and not be torn apart. May we find in the words of the Shema hope and inspiration and love. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I will go back briefly to the share screen just to now introduce Marilyn, and then having done so, I also want to extend a welcome to any members of Temple Beth Israel in Plattsburgh, New York, who are with us now. And as I scroll down, Marilyn, there you are. I am about to spotlight you, so if you're like eating your challah in the middle of the service, Marilyn, please get ready to be spotlighted. And Marilyn, welcome, the president of our congregation. Please unmute.
You're still muted.
You are still.
Sorry.
There we go. Okay.
I like the other picture better. That's what my hair looked like for 8 months of the year, but now for the last 4 months, I have this. Anyway, I can only say, what a week. I really needed this hour of escape into the spiritual world, as I sense many of us who are here tonight did. I've been thinking about what difficult times these are for all of us, but this week made me really understand what difficult means. This week, not only did we in the Virgin Islands have to worry about finances, being safe, remember to distance ourselves, wash our hands, not touch our faces, wear a mask, etc., because of COVID, but we had to think about another challenge, protecting ourselves and our homes from the potential ravages of an oncoming tropical storm, which was going to hang around from Wednesday until today. And actually it was just raining a little bit before. And although not as severe as a hurricane, it was going to give us all the issues of rain and wind that can wreak havoc on our homes and our possessions. And this on top of everything else. Thank goodness, after all the worry and the preparation, the storm passed us by with some rain and wind, but really quite uneventful and bearable, thank goodness. And that's what we always hope for. Let's prepare, but let's let it not be so great. Well, you would think that that would have been enough. But a most wonderful daughter of a longtime congregation member and her deceased husband had a bicycle accident this week in Israel, where she lived, and she was killed at the age of 55. Wouldn't that be enough? But no. At least 3 people I know very well developed COVID. So tonight, to our members of our congregation, our high members, Temple, whatever the name of it is, I'm glad you're with us. But anyway, I'm going to ask all of you to take a deep breath with me, and let's cast all of our positive energies on a peaceful and healing Shabbat, on a better week, and on the future of a normal life, whatever that might mean for each of us. So again, Shabbat Shalom on behalf of the members of our board, to everyone here, members, high members, people in the States. As we said, remain safe, take care of yourselves and your family and your neighbors. And please, visitors, become high members of our congregation if you are not already. It only costs $36 a year, and you can go on our website and find out all the benefits, or call the synagogue. It means a great deal to us. Shabbat Shalom again.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We will go back to sharing video. I have two very quick announcements. The first, actually, if you want to either, if Sharon Schenkel is still on, if you want to unmute and share, we have an invitation from St. Croix to a movie night. The ironic thing about that is that I physically, the first time I ever, and I've only been twice, the first time I was ever physically in St. Croix, it was after the movie theater here on St. Thomas was destroyed in Irma, and Star Wars had just come out a few months later, and Talia was 16 at the time, and of course, you know, we had to go see Star Wars. So I told Talia that had better be, that was one expense of the flights for three of us, the hotel for one night, the cost of that was one expensive movie. It had better be good.
It's been months since I've seen a movie.
Right, but now we get the news that the movie theater here is closing until further notice and maybe permanently. So I hope that it does reopen. But Sharon, if you're on, do you want to share about movie night next Saturday night, the 8th?
Yep. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm looking to spotlight you.
Okay. Yes, you can. We're doing a movie. I can't remember what movie it is, but I know that you had, what is the movie? You have the movie listed there? I know we have it.
I have it, but I don't have it in front of me. I'm sorry.
Okay, and we're gonna, well, you can send it out. I can try to find it. And the movie, what we do is we watch a movie sometime on Prime or YouTube or whatever, and then we get together on Saturday night. I think it's 7 o'clock on Zoom, and then we all sort of discuss it. And it's been fun. We did about 8 of them after COVID started and lockdown started. So they're always Jewish related, and we've had a lot of fun doing it. So I'll check and see if I can find it before the end of Shabbat service.
Thank you. And it's wonderful having you and Oscar and occasionally Ellie. And may this be an opportunity for St. Thomas and St. Croix and our Jewish communities to get to know each other once again. I'm going back to the share screen again.
I found it. It is called
okay. And the movie is?
Closed Season. It's about a movie that takes place during World War II when a childless couple agree to hide a Jewish man. And so we're going to be talking about it on Zoom link on August 8th. And when I get the Zoom link, I can send it out to you, Rabbi
Thank you.
Feshbach.
And we will distribute it. Thank you so much.
What did it get? Closed season.
Closed season.
So the only other announcement is that on August 6th, in conjunction with the Maimonides Medical Society of Western New York, we invite you to explore Jewish perspectives on systemic racism in healthcare and elsewhere. That is this coming Thursday night. I am not yet ready for it. I have not yet prepared, but I think I have some good sources ready to, that will be by then ready to present. So our service continues with Aleinu as we return to the screen, and I will then go back to the spotlight as we are able. If you are able to do so, please rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגוי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו ופסולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום להשבותה אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light. Long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we love. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember.
We remember Bathsheba Abed Nadon, Moses D. Cardoza, Mary Cohen, Joseph Curiel Jr., Joseph Finanke, Solomon Chaim Finanke, Sarah Fonseca, Richard Eric Herder, Alexander Levy, Leah Lobo, Solomon Melendez, Benjamin Naar, Francis Raphael Pichetto, Jeremy Pinkerton, David DePina, Gustav Aaron Pissarro, Nana Maureen Kamhai Puritz, Becky Reifel, Jerome Jerry Reisberg, Elizabeth Ringel, Edna Rosenthal, and Jack Sternberg. We observe yahrzeit for the following high members and those dear to our high members: Irving Berlin, Alan Cohen, Pearl Feinberg, Harry Feldman, Kurt Felsenberg, Bernard Fenster, Louis Friedman, Gordon Gerstein, Bernice Goldfarb, David Goldstein, William Herman, Joseph Honigman, Max Inheber, Florence Kaplan, Harry Kessler, Jacqueline Lampert, Beatrice Leland, Queenie Levy, Dorothy Loeb, Leonard Mishkind, Betty Mitchell, Mario Moskowitz, Fred Oppenheimer, Dora Pardo, Naomi Pomper, Doris Quigley, Robustino Ramos, Jonathan Redelheim, Stephen Renyi, Robert Ryder, Arthur Riesenfeld, Max Ritter, Marilyn Rourke, Pauline Rose, Sylvia Rosen, Bella Rossman, Oscar Schneider, Betty Schreiber, Larry Shapiro, Rose Silver, Miriam Simon, Jack Solomon, Mildred Spector, Barbara Wasserman, Bradley Waldo, Sadie Wolf, Billy Zucker. During this period of Shloshim, the 30 days following her loss, we mention Eleanor Pierce Lichtman. With sorrowing hearts, we mention those who were lost in recent days: Ellen Victoria Grishman Ben Chaim, and our longtime Congressman, Delegate to Congress, Ron DeLugo. We ask at this time if there are any others who are here to say Kaddish, and I know there are some names which we are thinking but not saying out loud at this time. But if there's anyone else to add, anyone for Kaddish at this time, please unmute and do so, or any of the names I may have mispronounced.
Aaron Ashby, a cousin and nephew to my office family, who was laid to rest today, whose life was senselessly ended at the age of just 14.
Oh, wow.
As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember.
Kaddish Yatom, if you are able to do so, please rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, b'alma divrach gerutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayei chon uv'yomei chon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, b'agala uv'izman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha breichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn among us, and wherever they may be, all those who are suffering the pain of loss everywhere, 150,000 or more in this country, 490,000 or more throughout the world, and so many others, those whose names we do not know, we take into our heart with our own. May the source of peace send peace to all of us, to all of them, to all who are suffering. We continue in a moment with Eli Eli, but let me ask you to all, please, if you are willing to do so, please stay on for a little bit longer. There are some introductions that I would like to make, if it works out, and if the people who I think are on, we will find out if that works. But we conclude with Eli Eli. To those of you who are not here with us in St. Thomas or have not been to our synagogue, this is a particularly appropriate song for us, since it refers to sand and sea, and we are near the sea and have the sand in the building intentionally, as part of our floor. Okay, so we continue with Eli Eli.
Shel these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
You were particularly good tonight, I think, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're going to go to gallery view. I am going to stop the live stream